Hi there, I'm Linda Dillon with the Council of Love, and welcome to Daybreak. You know, when something really hard or traumatic happens, when our sense of what's right, balanced, normal is shaken, it can be challenging to hold the center, to stay grounded, especially at this time when the Council of Love is guiding us, urging us, even sometimes shouting at us about how important it is for us to be and stay grounded. The repeated guidance is not only to have our feet firmly planted in the ground, on the ground, but literally in the ground, buried up to about our shins, and steadfastly connected to Gaia. Now for me, who often hovers about 3 feet off the ground, just humming along, that's a really important reminder. While I'm not particularly one of those Pollyannish, idealistic people who find silver linings in just about everything, I am definitely one of those people who believes everything happens for a reason. So realistic Linda has often felt, yeah, we live in Florida. I have now for 20 years. I can't believe it's been 20 years. And I know that part of living in Florida is experiencing living with hurricanes and sometimes lots of crazy thunderstorms. And this year has been extraordinary in that department. Torrential rains pretty much every single day. I think most of we Floridians are feeling somewhat soggy and certainly oversaturated. Over the years, I have worked with the elementals and the hurricanes themselves, and each of them has a very distinctive personality and energy. And once you come to know what that underlying issue and purpose of the hurricane is, we send that calming energy and then redirect it often out into the middle of the ocean where it's doing no harm, no foul. But then, in the past couple of weeks, came the 1-2 punch with first Hurricane Helene and then Milton. Massive Category 3 to Category 5 storms, creating unprecedented storm surges. The devastation created by Helene across a whole swath of southern states who are totally unprepared for such raging waters has left all of us with our mouths hanging open in shock. How could this happen? I mean, how does Asheville, tucked away in the mountains of North Carolina, get completely deluged? In Florida, we anticipate and are prepared more or less for hurricanes. But in the Carolinas, Georgia, it's insane. Isaac and I, luckily, with Helene, were only without power for a couple of days. So was it uncomfortable? Yes, but certainly manageable. But then came along Milton. Now, backstory. For years, Isaac and I have had an agreement about hurricanes. Anything stronger than a Category 3, and we're out of here, because we know they can be deadly and devastating. And doesn't matter if this storm ends up coming in as a 1 or even a tropical storm. We're not taking that kind of a chance. Then along comes Milton, and it grows from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane basically overnight. And the highways are completely jammed with cars. For those who have to, mandatory evacuation. So we batten down the hatches and track the eye of the storm and the cone to see what's happening. And it looked like we're relatively safe and will be in the outer bands of the storm, which basically means lots of rain and maybe some flooding. Besides which, we live under the blue dome. Our neighborhood, we know, is mightily protected. Meanwhile, I'm talking to Milton and understanding that this is part of Gaia's cleansing and attunement to the fullness of her being as Nova Gaia, a planet of love and unity. And then Milton hits. And it doesn't feel like love and unity. It was ferocious. Now, quick aside and personal gripe. I can't stand how as soon as a storm is named, the media goes crazy. I fully understand about preparedness, but the constant barrage created by the media not only contributes to the frenzy, it creates it. Okay, so much for my paid political announcement. Milton rampages ashore, and shortly thereafter, our area of Port St. Lucie was bombarded by tornadoes. 19 tornadoes touched down in our small town. OMG. It was nasty. I'm sitting there thinking of John Milton, the famous poet, and his poem called Paradise Lost. And wondering, really wondering, if this is it. Because this home, a place where I've lived the longest in my whole life, is my personal little slice of paradise. And I would really hate to lose it. But then, along with the tornadoes and the upheaval, then came the sweetest silver lining I could ever hope or wish for. Tons of texts, messages, phone calls, checking if we were all right, if we were safe. And it just got better. Hearing from folks I haven't connected with for years. I can't even begin to describe how deeply, how profoundly that touched my heart. I know, as the channel, the teacher for the Council of Love, that my role isn't intended to be super personal. But I also know that when I'm granted the gift, and it really is a gift, of seeing someone, of really being able to look at who they are, hearing their heart's yearnings, and yes, often their pain, that it is personal. And when I channel, I feel and see everything the person does, or the group does, and everything the spirit who's being channeled feels, says, and does. So how could it not be personal to be entrusted this way? And yes, I'm a locked vault. I do not talk or share about what I perceive, what I'm entrusted with. But then, when you see the person grow and blossom, become happier, more joyful, more powerful, I am over the moon happy for them, for me, for everybody. And the point is never codependence. something I studiously avoid. So it's natural. It's my hope. It's my purpose that people progress and go on their path. But those bonds, that connection I feel, yep, even after 5, 10, even 20 years, it stays. It doesn't go away. And sometimes when I've wondered how somebody's doing, I very unobtrusively check in. But can you imagine my delight in hearing from all those old friends to realize that the caring is on both sides? It's overwhelming, and it's overwhelmingly delicious. And it's so darn reassuring, reinforcing that love really does count. That we really are in it together. That unity really is there in caring, kind, and powerful ways. You know, one of the primary gifts from Archangel Uriel is his silver flame, the flame of illumination. It's the flame that we hold in the palm of our hands to see what is true, even in the darkest moments, in the worst situations. And that's the gift, to me, that Milton delivered. To know that current friends, old friends, our circle, our community, we're solid. And we really do have each other's backs as well as our hearts. So thank you, friends, for reaching out. I love you. And as always, thanks for taking the time to listen. And until the next time, from my heart to yours.